Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a great start of their week. We're on hump day. It's the home stretch. We're about ready to make it happen. As always, I'm your host, Tyson. TRL Business Time with me, Mr. Jeffrey, with the graduate in the house off the schneid. Jeffrey, it's been a great morning for you this morning. Proud Papa moments. I hope you're having a good day. You want to give us a little breakdown of the ceremonies today?
Kindergartner had his graduation today, so the whole family went out, showed out for him, went back to his class. The teacher gave out all the awards. He made honor roll every single semester this year. Great on attendance. Had a citizenship award for just being a great overall human being, being nice to his classmates, and won an award for participation and just being a great overall kid. So couldn't be prouder of him. He does great, really, in school. Shout out to you, Oliver. He wanted to be on the podcast this morning, but I told him maybe not just yet. So I did bust him out of school jail early as well too. As school is over on Friday, so if you have children, just a heads up, you have to figure out daycare next week. Okay. The public school system is going to be shut down starting next Monday, so you got to figure something out. Sorry, really sorry.
And as somebody that lives next to a high school and a grade school, this is the beautiful time of year that I have for me. There's no more traffic in my community, but like as I pointed out to my wife though, but now there's more people at the pool during the week.
Absolutely.
So it's a give and take, but definitely our community is just an absolute shit show when it comes to. I've never in my life. I told you about this, right? That they actually put a gate to get into the school inside of our community. Yeah, so like the back of the school, right? It backs up to our community. More importantly, the townhomes, right? And that's our road right there. And there's a gate all the way around it. Well, they wanted to allow the people in our community to be able to walk their kids to school, but not have to go around and cross the traffic of the school lines, right? So they put a gate in right there. Well, obviously it didn't take too long for the rest of the parents to realize that there's a gate that they can drop their kids off right there and not have to wait in the school pickup line or the school drop-off line. So now our road here turns into a school pickup and drop-off line to a point where there's kids running across traffic. It's really, really bad. It's not safe. And, no. It's an absolute cluster, and obviously I live over close to it. It doesn't really affect me, no, but it just pisses me off. I'm at that stage in my life where it's like get off my grass type shit.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and this is not a kid's issue. This is a parent's issue.
Oh, 100%.
The way that it works, and I can attest, car pickup line is one of the most stressful things that you go through as a parent if you pick your kids up from school. But there is order to it. You are supposed to sit. You are supposed to wait. You are supposed to obey the rules of society, if you will. Okay, which is sit in line. One person goes, next person goes. It's supposed to be understood. We're the adults here. But what people do is that they don't want to wait in the line. No. And people think that their time is more valuable than everybody else's, and that it's all about them. So what they will do is they will say, "Listen, you're not a car rider, you're a walker." Okay, so they have their children be a walker. They walk outside of the school, and then you have a row of parents that, for some reason, their ego or whatever it is thinks that they're more important than everybody else, and that their child is and their time is more valuable, and they don't have to abide by the rules. And that's when you get the problems. That's when you get accidents. That's when you get kids killed, man. And it's really sad. It is the parents' fault.
Oh, 100%.
The kids are just doing what the parents tell them to do, and it frustrates me to no end. But
A kid got hit over here. A kid got hit over here on Sidell, just not too long ago.
Terrible, man.
And the crazy thing is this is a brand new school. They have an extremely long pickup line to where it's always flowing. It's not even a wait. And then the worst part about it all is there's people in our own community that drive over there and do it. And you know what they say? They say there's no law against it. And I say, you know what? You're absolutely right. But there's no law against my dog taking a shit in your yard either.
100%. And at the end of the day, it's something that you can't regulate. But trust me, we see who you are. We know who you are at PTO meetings. We know who you are when your children are getting picked on Little League teams as well, too. Okay.
Yep. Well, we're in the community. We're actually fighting it, and this is the weirdest thing that I've ever seen. Because, like I was talking about, obviously, I didn't know that this, and I'm pointing right here because the school is literally I could throw a baseball through that window and hit the school.
Probably tear your rotator cuff though.
And if it's even working. But I didn't know that school was going there. I knew that the high school across of Seidel, I knew that was coming in, but I didn't know the impact that would have as well, because everybody goes through our communities trying to avoid the stoplights, and it took like when I used to go and do things early in the morning, it'd take like 3 or 4 lights just to get out of our community. It was really it's terrible, and it's still terrible because all of the kids walk over here as well. The kids actually park in our community and walk over to the high school. But that's neither here though. But this one, it just amazes me. They actually built this here, but they built a school zone through the community. They actually had people, the walkers, directed to walk through our community. I've never in my life have seen a public school system where they actually designed a school to run through a community. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I can't wait to get out of here. Can't wait.
Where are you going to go?
I think we're going to go to Tampa.
Okay. Going to go join Nikki Merckx over there? A little bit farther south, or are you going directly to Tampa?
Nah, I think we're gonna go like St. Pete, Tampa area. It's pretty cool over there. I don't know the last time you've been over there. It's pretty trendy, a lot of stuff to do. It's like an up and coming Miami. It really feels like, honestly. There's a lot of options, a lot of things to do.
Speak of up and coming places, I do understand that you went to a dinner at a local place that received I believe it's now 2 Michelin. I know they got a Michelin star last year. Did they get one again this year?
They got one in 2022.
And the guide just came out for 2023.
Yeah, so I think that's a carryover from 2022. Yes, I did. I don't know. I think it said it could have been 2023. It could have been. There was a 1 star. Okay. It was out up front. I did. Would you like to hear a little bit of review?
I would love to hear a little bit about Knife and Spoon, because I've been there as well too. And what I don't know if you remember what I told you about it when I went. Listen, if you want to have 5-star fine dining service and you want to have 6 servers that take care of you and so on and so forth, that is absolutely the place for you to be. But the prices of things and in terms of the actual taste and overall experience, to me, does not match and does not equal what it should be.
And you are 100% right. So, as you know, it was a 2-part mission, right? It was a scout mission to see, if I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and then
it could be a niche for you.
Yeah. So I walk in, right, and we get in. The hotel is absolutely beautiful. Completely impressed from the time you walk in. The Ritz-Carlton, it is what it is. We walked around the lobby bar, awesome. There was a convention or something there, which had a lot of the thing monopolized. So we went down to Knife and Spoon. Greeted immediately by the hostess. Super friendly, great atmosphere. Run into Pedro. Remember Pedro from Boathouse?
Yeah, of course.
Pedro's working there. But he was out front. He was in a suit jacket. I thought he was a manager there. So, of course, I got a little excited. So I was just like, hey. But I find out he was doing the cocktail area, which is fine. So we go to sit at the bar, and it went downhill from there. The 2 bartenders were literally complaining the entire time. The one bartender that actually took our drink order stopped making our drink to complain to the other bartender about what was going on, and then came back and finished our drink and gave it to us. The other bartender was eating Luxardo cherries out of the bar caddy while talking to a guest, and then proceeds to chew on the thing and pick her teeth while talking with said guest. Now, okay, guys, I'm human here. I bartended for a long time. I want to clarify, we're in a Michelin star restaurant. There's levels to this shit. You go into an ale house and a bartender's eating a cherry out of the thing and picking their teeth. You're like, whatever. It's ale house.
Couldn't care less. You're pouring me Michelob Ultra. I don't care.
Correct. So we have a couple drinks there, and as you said, it was expensive. I think I had 2 Moscow Mules, and she had a glass of something. It was like $80 for that. Mm-hmm. The thing that I didn't really understand is, I talked to Ian before, and we talked about, it possibly being a pool location, right? So when we go, the table is ready, right? So I said, well, I'll cash out here. And the bartender literally goes, I can transfer your tab over there, no problem. And I said, okay, well, knowing my knowledge, I'm like, oh, is this a pool location or not? She goes, no, they tip us out, though. I'm like, so you don't want me to settle my tab here? She goes, no, it's no big deal. I go, okay, well, give you my tab. I'd like to pay you and tip you for your services, which I still tipped, regardless of that whole situation. Mm-hmm. So we go into the main dining room, and it is a complete 180 from the bar to the dining room. The bar is really dark. Again, it just wasn't a very inviting atmosphere. Then you go into the main dining room. It's brighter. It's very luxurious looking. And as you said, there's people walking around. Hello, 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 hello. They greet you with your table by your name every single time, which was pretty cool. But outside of that, it just, the service wasn't the best. They forgot my drink a couple times. And, for those of you that know, I'm kind of on a caviar kick. So we ordered caviar, and caviar usually comes with these little Bellini-looking pancakes and, some of the accompaniments. Well, they didn't say anything. We ordered it, and it comes, and they say, we're out of Bellini, so we made it with this instead. Okay, and if you're doing that, you should know right away, that's just don't say you're out of something. Just say, this is what it is. Because it was like flash fried, like fish skin. Okay, and you know me, I don't eat fish. I know that sounds weird. I don't like fish. It was very, very fishy.
Right, you like fish eggs, but you don't like fish.
Yeah, and I ordered lobster, and we had crab legs, but overall, we left very intrigued. Couldn't believe how it got a 1-star Michelin rating, to be honest with you. And that just led me into my further scenario that I do believe that somehow the Florida Tourism Board paid off Michelin to get a bunch of Michelin star restaurants in Florida, because it had like 1, I think, or 2 in the entire state. Now it's got like 30.
Well, the issue is that we were never Michelin rated in Florida until 2022 was the first year that they came out. And so this is the first time that Michelin Guide has actually delved into Florida in terms of the cuisine and the different restaurants and the chefs that we have here. And now, then people have to understand there's a difference between being a Michelin star and being Michelin recommended as well too. So
correct.
There are levels to things.
I will say though, especially when we traveled in Europe and stuff like that, some of our most disappointing meals came from Michelin star restaurants. And I think it's one of those things, they get the star and then they let it fall off. Now I will say this.
What I think it is. Go ahead.
Well, I will say this. Elena in Chicago is a 3-star Michelin restaurant, and that absolutely blew the socks off of anything that I've ever been a part of.
Did you have the balloon, the balloon for dessert with the Okay.
Yeah, we did the course menu. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Just spend a little extra money, get the extra wine pairings. They literally have a sommelier come to your table after every single course. That's what you kind of expect. But the Michelin star thing, to me, I think it's kind of like the MVP in the NBA. It's kind of a gimmick.
Oh, okay. And I'll piggyback off this as well, too, since we are going to transition into sports. I do apologize for the first 15 minutes that we got off on this tangent, but it is what it is, and here we are. Once you gain that Michelin star, there is a level of expectation for hospitality, for service, and for food. That expectation grows exponentially. If you would have gone into Knife and Spoon 2 years ago, and you would have just not thought anything about expectation wise, just walked into a new restaurant, you might have viewed it differently. But once people say, and you start getting recognition in Michelin, I deal with this at our restaurant, Michelin recommended, your expectations grow just as the price point has. And with every number that increases, their expectations of perfectness and execution and quality, warm, genuine hospitality, those all grow as well too. So
absolutely,
there is a certain level of expectation that is set by the guest before they even walk into the property or step into the restaurant.
You absolutely, especially, and if you're, like you said, if you're on one of these properties, like AKA Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, or anything of that nature, you're already expecting a certain level of this. Then you put that on top of it. And I will say, and I will give one last shout out before we go, the one that continues to execute always at a high level, never disappointed with the Michelin star, is absolutely Kappa, the Four Seasons in the Orlando Hotel. Absolutely just amazing every single time that we've gone there. I highly recommend that. If you can get in there, go there. One of the best restaurants in the entire Orlando area, in my opinion.
Bull and Bear, and our restaurant, we're trying to be mentioned with these folks as well too. And they have set high expectations. They genuinely have. They have done a great job at keeping their sustainability in terms of high level quality of service and food.
Well, one little thing again before we get going is, the reason why they do that though is because you got to look at the hotels that they're in. They're in the Four Seasons. They're in the Ritz-Carlton. Okay, so when you have a COPPA at the Four Seasons, do you really think that somebody in the Four Seasons is saying your labor line is too high, you're not making enough profit? Absolutely not, because that restaurant is there as a subsidiary to their guests. Do they want it to make money? Absolutely. But do they care? Absolutely not. A lot of these places and a lot of these these higher end hotels, they lose money on their restaurant business. Because let's be honest, food and beverage, I know everybody thinks that everybody's multimillionaires. The food and beverage industry is a very slim margin to begin with. If you can get
Margins are very thin.
If you can get close to 15, maybe 20% profit, I mean, that's really, really good. But then not in these places. And so, like to your point, you have 6 people taking care of you. You drive, there's a crumb on there, all of a sudden somebody's there, and that's just the part of being at those hotels. But that's what you expect.
But also, the reason they have those is to elevate the entire brand in itself.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because like when you talk about, let's say Marriott is a humongous global brand, right? And there's a lot of residents there's a lot of Fairfield Inns, there's a lot of Courtyards, right? But when you think of Marriott, a lot of times the first thing you think about are JW Marriott, right? Ritz-Carlton Marriott, Edition Marriott, right? These small things elevate the entire brand and make it that much better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of hotels that I stayed at during the finals and in the conference, Morimoto is Michelin rated. Polite Pig is Michelin rated.
I think Morimoto is Michelin recommended, I believe. And so is Polite Pig or Ravenous Pig, I believe. I don't know about Polite Pig.
They don't have stuff. Okay, recommended. I was gonna say Morimoto. I haven't heard hardly. Yeah. Okay.
There are levels to it, right? Recommended is not rated, so just understand.
Well, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a murder in Miami last night. I don't know if you saw it, but the boys from Boston came in to Miami and completely dismantled the Miami Heat in the second half. I don't know if you saw that or not. It was a little touch and go there for a while. They came out, Miami did their Miami thing, Celtics fought back, and then in the third quarter, the Celtics continued to run away with it. I tell you, there was a lot of talk, and I even said it as well, that I still don't give them, slim, but there was a lot of talk in that industry about the Celtics players saying, don't let us get this one in Miami. Don't let us get... I really feel like the momentum has completely shifted in this entire series, even though they're down 3-1. Okay, I feel like Boston has all the momentum. They're coming home, right? So if they get that game at home, which I fully expect that they will, now they're going to go back to Miami for Game 6, and that is going to put all of the pressure back on the Miami Heat. If they lose Game 6, then you got to go back to the Garden for Game 7, which I can agree that Miami does not want to do. I don't know. Jeffrey, what are your thoughts?
So first of all, Jason Tatum did one of his Jason Tatum things that he does. He's a very streaky shooter, and he's also very selective on his aggressiveness toward the rim. I think him and Jaylen Brown both need to get downhill and get toward the rim for them to be able to have success. Creates more opportunities for everybody. That being said, Miami plays at its best whenever it's, I don't want to say back is against the wall, but whenever everybody thinks that the other team is going to win, that's when Miami excels. So I expect everybody to be on Boston for Game 5 in Boston. The crowd's going to be rocking. Everybody's going to be going. You know what's going to happen? Timothy Buckets is going to show up and win Game 5 and put this entire thing to bed. I agree with you. I don't think the Miami Heat want to go to a Game 6. I don't think that's in their plans at all. Spoelstra's a better coach. Jimmy Butler's the best player on the court, in my opinion. He was last night as well, too. Unfortunately, like I said, Jason Tatum just gets hot. Just like, listen, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, the Celtics should not have won that series against the 76ers. 76ers stopped playing. Tatum goes for 4 threes in Game 6. Boom, Game 7 happens where they hit everything under the sun in terms of Jason Tatum. He goes on these streaks sometimes. He'll go for a game and a half. And listen, if Jason Tatum goes off for 50 in Game 5, it'll probably come back to Miami for a Game 6. I will say that. And I just don't see Jason Tatum going off for 50 in Game 5. He could. Absolutely could. He has the potential. He's got all the talent in the world. Guy's an amazing player. Still, give me the Miami Heat Game 5.
They're definitely going to need better help from the support players, which they, we all know that. One person can't just carry the entire game outside of Denver. Right. But, I agree with you in the fact of I still feel like the pressure is on Boston on this game 5, 100%. I think that Miami still realizes they have 3 games to win 1. Even if they lose it, I don't feel that they're going to feel the pressure until game 6 starts. To your point, I'm sure everybody, their mother, is going to be on the Boston Celtics. Just like, this game, all the money was on the Heat because it looked like another one of those, is Boston going to show up? There was a lot of talk, and I think this is what the fuel the fire, especially, I don't know if you saw Magic Johnson's comments in regards to, I never thought I'd see a 17-time champion Boston Celtics roll over and play dead or something. I'm not quoting. Yeah. Play dead the way that team did. That's an absolute embarrassment to the entire Boston Celtics organization and everyone that's ever played that for that team. Now imagine you're on that team. Like if you didn't have something else to play for, you got one of the greatest of all time that played against your Boston Celtics in the Larry Bird era, when the Boston Celtics were just an absolute force to be reckoned with. Tell me you're part of a team that is the most embarrassing team to play a game in NBA history for your team. I don't care what you value as far as like if you say that I don't really care what he says. I don't value his opinion. That's gotta hurt, right? That's gotta give you some extra mentality to get out there and play the game a little harder.
Absolutely, of course, and they did. But this is probably the first game, maybe the whole postseason, that Miami has been truly favored, and everybody gave them their flowers and said that Boston's done, stick a fork in them, blah, blah, blah. That's always the narrative. Now the narrative after game 4 is that, watch Celtics in 7 guaranteed. Even ESPN has the Celtics to win in 7 games only at like plus 200. It's only 2-1 for them to win 4 in a row. Absolutely absurd, insane. Now I understand that Vegas and places like that are also trying to hedge their bet. They don't want people to have good middles on them where you have a huge plus money number on the Celtics and a huge plus money number on the Heat, and then you're winning money regardless. So I understand there's a certain hedge factor that Vegas will go through with that as well too. But for me, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the Heat are better. I think there's some kind of a break still with the Celtics. They've played lazy, sloppily all year. They happened to make shots last night. They made 19 threes last night. Listen, they make 19 threes, they're going to win games. And Jason Tatum just went off in the second half. It was what it was. I look forward to seeing what happens tomorrow night.
I hope Justice is in here as well, but Jeffrey, I want you to look into my eyes. Celtics in 7. You heard it here first, people. Celtics in 7. My father-in-law came over last night. We watched John Wick 4 because I accidentally pre-ordered it back in the day, trying to figure out when it was coming out. Whatever. It's getting a little hokey. It's getting a little hokey. I'm not going to tell you how it goes or how it ends, but
I've never seen a John Wick.
Yeah, okay, well then you wouldn't know. But he came over and he said the Boston Celtics were absolutely going to win last night, that they were going to blow them out. And the movie kind of ran over a little bit in the first quarter, a little bit, and I was like, oh, bro, I don't know. And then of course they did that run in the third quarter, and then it all just came to fruition, and I got my text of "I told you so." I'm like, "Yeah, you did." And I tell you what, this guy, he's been spot on every time. He's called it when they've lost. I need to start taking betting advice from him because he's called it when they've lost and he's called it when they've won every single time. Maybe we should have him on. Maybe we get some Celtics betting advice.
Maybe we could.
Well, sticking with the NBA before we get into our next scheduled programming. LeBron James has come out and said that, he has a lot to think about in regards to his next steps. A lot of this stuff is talked about as far as, this is LeBron playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. Is this to push the Los Angeles Lakers into pursuing other people to continue to build around him to give him that championship leg? Or is this really just a time of when you're 38 years old and you just got, whooped out playing 48 minutes, a lot of long minutes, and I don't know what his injury actually is, but everybody keeps talking about what his injury is and that he's going to need off-season surgery, things of that nature. And is he really going to retire? Well, then we start looking at other things, and he came out and made a comment about Bronny, and I think that this is kind of one more maybe may encompass what his mind is actually thinking, is that he came out and said, playing with Bronny at this level has always been my aspirations and my goals. Now, that might not be Bronny's aspiration or his goals, and that's okay. If I don't get to play with him, then, I'm okay with that. that to me kind of changes my mentality a little bit more about how serious that he's talking about the retirement thing. But then again, maybe, he took a little clip from Aaron Rodgers and Brady and realized, hey, I can do this and get, I don't think he needs any more attention. But, I'm going to ask what your thoughts on that, whether you think that he really is going to retire, and then I'll kind of come back and we'll go from there. But what are your thoughts as far as LeBron James hanging it up, what would obviously be one of the most historic careers in NBA history?
And listen, from LeBron's point of view, he can hang it up right now because he's no longer going to be, whatever you say, regardless, he's probably never going to be able to surpass Michael Jordan ever, right? If he was going to have a puncher's chance, we'll say it was going to be this year. Now, obviously, he gets swept. I don't really put a lot of that blame on LeBron at all. I mean, he goes off for 31 in the first half, and I don't even blame the teammates around him. I do think Darvin Ham got caught becoming a fan in certain instances in the last parts of the game where there was better parts to call timeouts or slow the game down or do things, and he kind of missed those opportunities. When it comes to LeBron retiring, I don't see LeBron retiring. I don't know, as a guy who's as competitive and as strong-willed as LeBron is, to be 38 years old and go off for 40 points in your last game to complete the sweep, I think it's just a reflection time for him. And I think it's also a point of, yes, LeBron said that he wants to one day play with Bronny. That was, and it is still an attainable goal. But I do think that LeBron looks at it and says, maybe Bronny is not going to be ready when I thought Bronny could be ready. In my opinion, I think Bronny needs about at least 2, maybe 3 years at USC. And if we're going to take 2 or 3 years at USC, well, now you're talking 41, 42. How competitive will LeBron be in 3 years from now? And I think as a dad, your instincts take over a little bit, regardless of what you want or what you hope for with your children. At the end of the day, you just want what's best for them. And your personal aspirations will be thrown out the window for their success in life. That's all we care about. We want our kids to be better than us, whatever it is. And so I think this is just more of a realization on where I think Bronny is in his game as opposed to what's going on in LeBron's mind. Do I think LeBron's retiring? Absolutely not.
Well, we also talk about
will play for another 3 years, probably, absolutely.
I think he's got it in the tank. I mean, he needs to get on a team where he doesn't have to play 48 minutes in a game for an elimination game. I mean, 48 minutes. You can't play the whole game.
Problem is, though, Tyson, if he gets on a team like that, you know what the argument is going to be.
I don't think that
you know the hate that he's going to get for that.
But he doesn't care, and I think that's more important.
He does care.
I don't. If he cared, look, he brought over Anthony Davis. He played with Kyrie. Like, he's brought in superstars at every stage in his career. So
I think Kyrie will go there next year.
I mean, that's
what you'll end up having. You'll have Kyrie, AD, LeBron. I think they'll be able to re-sign Austin Reeves to kind of a not a crazy deal, but a more of a team-friendly deal than what he would get, because Austin Reeves will thrive with those guys.
Well, I think he's still under contract next year.
Austin Reeves, he's a restricted free agent, so the Lakers can match any deal that's thrown out there for him.
Right.
If they want.
Is your mic okay over there?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. It just sounds like it's like drum beating over there. Yeah, so
I don't know what's going on. There's something going on around my house right now where I hear a bunch of thudding and stuff going on, and I'm not really sure what's happening. So
maybe are you beating your desk again?
No, I'm not actually.
Mm-hmm. The pieces are going to be there, and I don't think anybody. I mean, like I said, LeBron has built superstar teams around him. Obviously, outside, the Boston Celtics didn't get the flack for building the original Big Three, but Bron has been now coined as built the Big Three in Miami. So I don't think that there's any reason why we would discredit him for continuing to build another superstar team around him in order to get those chips. Now, when it comes to the argument as far as Michael Jordan, obviously that would be into effect. But on the same token, do we discredit Steph's rings that he won with that powerhouse team when you have arguably the top 2 shooters on the team plus Kevin Durant, and then the hustler Draymond Green? We don't discredit that, but again, we don't put him on the same level as LeBron as far as expectations as well. But
I think he's better than LeBron.
Well, there's delusional people everywhere. I mean,
did you see the amount of hate that or the amount of, I don't want to say hate, the amount of joy when LeBron lost, all over social media.
But I will say this though, he brings a lot of it on himself, the way he carries himself, and when you sit there and you bang on your chest, you might be the best player in the NBA. I mean, but when you come out of that exit interview, which he didn't even show up for the team's exit interview, as Jeremy just pointed out, he was the only one that didn't show up. But when you come out of the game, right, and you're talking about retirement, and you sit there and you break, well, I'm still better than 95% of the players out there. Okay, you're absolutely right. But when you continue to put that out there, I'm the best player to play the game, so no, I'm not worried about anything. It's a certain level of arrogance that people just don't like to see. That's why everybody roots for the underdog. They like a little bit of a humbleness, and he just doesn't have it. And rightfully so in his mind. I mean, he is. I mean, he came out, he's accomplished everything that he's wanted to accomplish outside of winning the rings from Michael Jordan. He's been in for 20 years, came in the league 18 years, has carried himself tremendously off the court, has impacted the community and everybody around him in such a positive manner. But the way that he carries himself on the court, and, obviously the decision turned a lot of people off, bro. I mean, I think I know that he'll look back at that in the career and be like, God, I wish I wouldn't have done that. And, to me, I was just like, that's just the dumb move, but that didn't change my legacy of him. But, just the flopping, the arms flailing every single time he doesn't get a call, the things that he has done as far as the load management, about not showing up to certain games, the coaching carousel, the player carousel. I think a lot of people just put that all together. And I think that when you're comparing him to Michael Jordan, which I don't even know is a fair comparison again, because as we've said, or I've said, it's the fact of, two different generations, two different things. But when you put all that together, and the fact that you've left teams, you left Cleveland the first time, you went back, you left again, you left Miami, you're over in LA. I mean, those are some scorned fans, bro. When you have a player of his talent that comes there, and teams make a lot of sacrifice in order to get him there, right? Now, he did bring him a chip, so I don't know. But, fans are fickle. When you lose your star player, imagine if Michael Jordan would have walked away from the Chicago Bulls.
I think that any fan of either of those three teams are the LeBron haters that we're talking about.
Well, then you have the ones similar to me that are just guarding Michael Jeffrey Jordan because that's the player that they've been up. Exactly. I'm not too proud to say. I think I said it on the last show. I think that's where a lot of my hate comes from, is the fact that Michael Jeffrey Jordan was from my Chicago Bulls and somebody that I obviously put on a pedestal. So no, I don't want anybody knocking him off. But do you think the beautiful thing about all this is we all fight about this, all the fans and everything. And then do you think Michael Jordan and LeBron James are having these arguments? Do you think that they really care? I know Jordan doesn't, because Jordan's just sitting back smoking cigars and just counting his billions. LeBron James is sitting on probably another billion mound. They're laughing all the way to the bank. And here we are, arguing over crumbs over which stat puts which guy higher than the other. I think we can just
I'm watching people try to square up and fight over this whole thing.
Exactly. That's I would never. I would get in a jaw all day long. So I like poking Paul too. Because he gets really sensitive really quick. I like that.
He's making it today, unfortunately, but that's okay.
Yeah, whatever. But on the same token, it's like you said, I don't know. But anyway, moving on. So who knows what Bronny's going to do? I'm with you. I think he's got a couple more years in the tank. I think this is more of a move of, hey, I'm not happy the way that this ended. Obviously, he plays for a chip and nothing else. There's no point in anything else in his career other than a chip, MVPs, anything like that. He's playing for a chip, and that's it. So I think that
LeBron's a basketball junkie, though. I feel like he's going to go straight from this to coaching. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Jump right in. I'm just telling you.
The only reason why I think that if he does something like that, he was going to try to get into buy a team or something of that nature. I think he was going to be more on the executive and just focus on his businesses. I mean, because the guy's got billions of dollars, bro. At what point do you at what point do you just go to North Carolina, park your boat next to Jordan, and go fishing for tuna? I mean, but then again, like we talked about Bronny as well, and just to clip that up, because I know we're running late here. Wow. But, Bronny going to USC, which already has great shooters and guards, they're already talking about he's not going to be a starter at USC. He might not be a starter for the first 2 years over at USC. So I think that you know what? Take the whole 4 years.
They have a tremendous recruiting class coming in this year as well too. USC basketball is going to be ridiculous.
And now Rodman's kid's going over there.
In college, Rodman's kid, and then they had the number one recruit in the country committed to them too. They all committed on the same day.
Yeah,
together.
So I mean, it's going to be deep. He's making millions in college, right? So here's my thing: why rush? And I think
Deion's thing that he said about this.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, it was really really good. Somebody asked him.
Let's hear it.
They said, what do you think about the the way that things are now, and the expectations on kids and so on and so forth? And he goes,
did he freeze?
It was shaking there for a minute. So basically what Deion said is that, you look at the kids who are in school right now who have to work at the local pub or the local bar to be able to pay their way through school. He goes, and then you have the other end of the spectrum, these NIL kids who are coming in, and they're coming in luxury cars, with huge NIL deals and a bunch of money and so on and so forth. He goes, so I can't pay you like an adult and then treat you like a child. He goes, the fact that you're getting paid adult money. And if you drop a pass in a huge game that should have won the game, those fans are absolutely okay to fry you because you have accepted the terms of a man and adult as opposed to being treated like a child. And this is what you wanted. And I thought that was very poignant in terms of like the way expectations are these days. And
I agree.
We have now jumped the shark. And there's a lot of stuff that Deion's done that I haven't agreed with. But I loved that statement, and I loved him knowing and understanding the moment and telling these kids how it is.
I mean,
I love that.
Like I said, Bronny, I think NIL deal was close to $5 million a year to be a bench player in college.
If Bronny misses the wide open shot, or misses the free throws to win the game, you're gonna get fried, bro.
But here's the deal: is nothing's gonna happen
of being an adult.
Correct. But again, nothing's gonna happen to him because you think USC is gonna cut Bronny. Absolutely not. I don't know. Like I said, the NIL deal, that's a whole thing we're gonna say for college because I know that we can just go in on that for hours.
Didn't Little Romeo go to USC too because he was best friends with DeMar DeRozan? I think Little Romeo sat on the bench for USC or something like that back in the day because DeMar DeRozan went to USC, I believe, and when he went to USC, I believe. Anyway, I think that was a thing. I'm not really sure though. Anyway, we're gonna move on now.
We are going to move on. So I don't know if you saw it or not, but John Morant's Instagram story this morning has caused quite a stir already, which has already been deleted. And this is one of those things that I think that this man has to get somebody to take control of his life for him. So this is what he posted out this morning. This was, I do believe, at 9:14 this morning. The first one was "Love you, Ma." Had a picture of him and his mother. "Love you, Pops." I'm assuming that's him and his father. And then "You the greatest baby girl, love you." And then all of a sudden just puts one with his back turned and says bye. Now, in this day and age, when mental health is such a forefront and feelings and all of this stuff, you could read whatever you want into this, but this doesn't appear to be anything positive.
No, this is like if you care and love Ja, like you drive to his house.
Yeah, you're on the way there.
To his house, you knock his door down. You make sure that he is surrounded with whatever he needs to be surrounded with, because this is a cry for help, is what this is. Now I don't think Ja's gonna hurt himself, but this is him reaching out, in my opinion, saying he needs help.
Correct, and let me be clear: this has already all been deleted. So I'm assuming somebody got there and it's like, dude, what are you doing? I just don't understand the mentality behind this, man. And when you're going through things, we've all gone through some really dark stuff before. We've all had some dark thoughts before, or at least I have. But it's kind of like when you post something on Facebook that said, "Just need thoughts and prayers right now," and you don't put anything else. And everybody's
with no context, right?
Right. Everybody's like, "Well, what's going on? Are you okay? What's going?" Just thoughts and prayers. Don't ask. Just thoughts and prayers. And everybody's
thoughts and prayers for what?
Exactly. What am I praying for, bro, Chacho? Right. Huh? What am I? Hey, God, don't know, but check it out. Obviously, you know what's going on there. I don't know, man. This kid has. This is what I was talking about before, like especially when we talked about LeBron and getting the bag at such a young age and things of that nature. You know, this is somebody that has gotten the bag now and has fumbled the bag. This is what we're talking about when we talk about the impressiveness of what LeBron did throughout his career and 18 years old and continuing on. And there are other people that obviously have done this, but this is pretty scary stuff in my opinion. And whether that's just one of those things as well, what we're talking about is that it's just a cry for attention or something of that nature. I don't know. But on the same token, dude, all you got to do is just not flash a gun during rap lyrics. That's all. You can still be yourself. And if you're telling me that that's who you are, that you have to have a gun in your hand, then I don't know what to tell you, bro. Then the NBA might not be for you. You might want to take the checks that you've already had, make a proper investment, and just live off the interest in an apartment somewhere because you still have that kind of money.
They still give you 4.9% right now. That's what they told me.
I'm sure they'll give him a little bit better. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, I don't know if you saw it. We're going to bring in Chad here. I think Paulie Parputz is off of the radar today. But we're going to go ahead and start a little our Golf Wedge Wednesday segment. Bringing in Chad. Chad, welcome to the program.
Chad.
Okay, well, Chad's microphone is still muted, so we're going to go and talk. I don't know if you saw, but Sergio Garcia obviously plays for the Live, which is a very hot topic these days in the golf world. And we talked about how they don't get qualified for the points that are moving in. Sergio Garcia went to his local sectional qualifier and qualified for the U.S. Open shooting 66-66. Now, I sent this over the group chat. I think that this is absolutely amazing. Could you imagine going to your sectional qualifier and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're playing with Sergio Garcia today. How awesome would that be? And then proceed to shoot 110.
Right, yeah. Proceed to shoot 92 as well and just hack it all around the yard. I don't know. Chad, how do you think you do against Sergio?
Well,
there he is.
I'd be all right. I'd be all right against Sergio. He's a fellow hook 'em horns now.
Fellow Spaniard.
Fellow hook 'em horns. He didn't go to Texas.
No, but his wife, they moved to Austin, so now he takes the Longhorns as a hometown favorite.
I'll tell you what, Austin's popping. I would have loved to have talked to Mr. Paul Roy over here about how Austin was his past week when he was out there enjoying life. But nonetheless, here we are. We appreciate you showing up and showing out for us today. Chad, thank you so much for being here. I do want to, just preface it with, first of all, congratulations. Nice hit. You had Brooks Koepka to win the
Thank
PGA.
you.
I do feel like sometimes you give us the picks that you don't really want to win, but you think could win, and then you hold the good ones back for yourself, which is fine.
I'm pretty sure I've told y'all some winners on here too. So
yeah,
and okay. I did say two live guys that could win last week would be Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka. I literally said that.
What did you think about the tournament, the way it played out, and everything that happened?
I mean, it played out exactly the way we thought it would. Don't get in the rough. If you get in the rough, you're screwed. It was thick and wet, and like you could not hit out of it. Like you couldn't control your ball out of it. So a lot of people losing a lot of strokes if they got in the rough at all. So had to keep in the fairway, and that's what Brooks did very well. And that whole 16th hole bunker, what was up with that? Twice we saw embedded balls in the same exact bunker. 2 different days. That was crazy.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a lot of the tournament because it was a very busy weekend for me. But the few moments that I did see that were amazing. First of all, big ups to Brooks Koepka. Go Knowles, one of the best, golf schools in the entire nation.
Oh, God, here we go.
These professional players. Obviously, it doesn't hold up to a school like Texas, where we'll just go ahead and say that. The Gators have been okay as well, too. Maybe not recently, but, you did have like a Billy Horschel, I believe, that was in there.
Steve Scott that took Tiger Woods to the finals.
Steve Scott.
Who?
Yep. Look it
Steve
up.
Scott?
Yep.
I don't know who that is.
All right, so they got Billy Horschel.
They got Billy Horschel, right? Yeah, we'll give him Billy Horschel anyway. So shout out to Tyson Gators as well. But big ups to Brooks Koepka. Me and Tyson talked about it on Monday. Everybody, this validates LIV and so on and so forth. And me and Tyson are of the opinion that we've always said the top of the top at LIV are really, really good golfers. They have some of the best in the world, absolutely. But in no way does this validate the bottom 15 or 20 that are on LIV. Like that, to me, that's just, you're talking apples and oranges here. What were your thoughts about the way that this list looked and the glimmer of the shine that LIV has coming out of this event?
I mean, like you said, LIV is not comparable to PGA at all, but the top 5 to 10, like you said, are top-notch golfers. They were guys like Brooks Koepka that, he wasn't healthy his last couple years on PGA, so he was falling off. He was kind of worried that maybe he had lost something, and he wanted to just make sure that his family was taken care of, so he did that. Dustin Johnson, same way. He's done a lot on PGA that, if he was to set aside, a little bit of paychecks, that, he could do it. So he went to LIV also and just, made sure that his family was set.
Yeah,
but, those guys, they can still win on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I think the top guys we were never really worried about, and we're talking about, moving over there. Of course, even if you're at the highlight of your career, it's talking about generational wealth. You're getting paid $100 million for 4 years that you literally get paid before you ever step on the course. And then your prize purses, if you win in a reduced field with what we talked about, reduced competition, is $4 million. So, obviously, yeah, I think that was a good one. And to our point, like what you was talking about, as far as LIV and being validated or not, regardless of how you feel as far as the majors, what Phil was talking about, like those guys are already in. And that's why I really thought it was awesome that Sergio went out and qualified on his own. And if that's what these other guys want to do, then go do it. There's nothing holding you back from the United States Open. And that's one of the most, obviously open tournaments that there is. Anybody can play in it, even amateurs. So if you qualify and you get in there, you have a good showing at the U.S. Open, there goes your golf rankings right up, and then boom, now you're invited to some other majors. It's a simple pathway. There should be nothing given, in my opinion.
Where did Brooks moved up a lot in the world golf rankings as well too? I believe I saw. I don't know the exact
up to
number,
13th.
I always get pissed off at 13th. Yeah, so I always get pissed off at lazy journalism, and I saw where Mike Bianchi decided to hop onto this argument today locally here in Orlando about how the world golf rankings are not fair and they don't count LIV and blah blah blah. It's like when these guys come out and they perform, they move exponentially up the rankings. What are you talking about? Like.
Well, I think he's talking about you only get 4 shots. Where over a PGA Tour, in the course of that year, you get 30, 40 shots at moving up the rankings. Whereas these guys only get 4 shots, and not only do they only get 4 shots, they're playing against the best golfers in the world with the strongest fields on these tournaments. So it does hinder them a little bit. But like I said, there's other ways that they can go around it. Moving at the end of the road, I think that there needs to be some way to figure it out. If you can figure out the DP tour, but then like Paul was saying, you're only playing 3 rounds. So if you want to play 4 rounds and be a real tournament, because you only have, I think, what is there, something like 15 tournaments on LIV? It's something very small. So add the 4th day, become official, and then boom, then now LIV gets the points to become official golf. But you can't just come up with your own situation and come up with your own saying, well, we're only going to play 3 days. Well, we expect to still be ranked. You can't just buck the entire system and expect the red carpet to be rolled out for you, in my opinion.
Exactly. And that's the thing about how we're talking about the better guys that LIV getting into these tournaments, the 4 majors. Well, the guys that aren't good enough, they knew that making this decision going to LIV, that they weren't going to get the points and all that. So, and I feel like that group of guys, like the Taylor Gooches and stuff like that, I feel like they were the guys that I was talking about whenever I was saying that they don't feel like they can win on the PGA, and that's why they took the money to make sure that they
are those the guys really banging the drum right now, saying it's not fair though. Are those the guys? I don't hear anybody other than the big names saying.
I think what it is it's Phil talking for them. Like Rory is kind of being the voice for the PGA.
That makes sense.
That's the way I feel it. Because like if those guys come out and talk, they're really nobodies because they've never won
because they are
who's gonna really
nobodies.
exactly. Who's going to listen to them?
Yeah, that's
So
a
you're
good point.
hey,
That's
Phil,
a good point.
Phil, hey, Daddy Phil, will you come and take care of us? Try to back us and get us into these tournaments because they'll listen to you, Phil.
Daddy Phil.
I mean,
Exactly.
speaking of Phil, you had the argument about how, it's not fair that they don't get the opportunities in these 30 or 40 events. Phil Mickelson came out and said that he thinks that the way the LIV is set up, it allows you to play better in majors. Even though you only have 4 tournaments, because you play less rounds, because you're playing less golf, you have more time to prepare, you have more time to get exactly locked in for a specific course. He says that he thinks the LIV people are at more of an advantage. So to me,
the LIV players that are qualified.
Correct. Have more of an advantage going into the tournaments. So
yeah, the 5 to 10 of them a week.
there's no Rory fatigue and have to pull out of the RBC. I mean, that's I think
Well, but if you're playing less golf, you have multiple weeks to prepare for a specific golf course, and at the same time, if you're playing LIV, these aren't really competitive rounds, right? So if you are going out. Oh, okay. Well, let me say this, Tyson. If you're already getting a bag for $100 million and your goal is to only win majors, right? And you have a major coming up in 3 weeks, but there's a LIV tournament at Crooked Cat at Orange County National that's going to be squeezed in between there. Are you really prepping as hard as you can for OCN? Or are you going out there and saying, whatever, I got a team. I'm going to think a little bit about Augusta before I come out here and play this round.
I'm trying to get that.
I'm saying in terms of there's a mental break.
I'm still trying to get that $4 million bag. I mean, $4 million is no joke. Sure. Even if you have $100 million, because again,
encourage Taylor Gooch to play really, really well so we can carry our team to being able to get that bag.
Hey, I mean, well, the individual prize is still there, not the team. But I mean, I see what your point. But when we're talking about moving up in comparison, Jeremy just put out there Michael Block, right? The PGA, the great story that came up, moved from 3,500th place in world rankings to 577th in one tournament, 1 week.
3,003 spots in the world golf ranking in 1 week is
and to me,
good. The fact that they still had him ranked at 3,500 to me is.
Well, if you think about
he's a PGA professional, so I think they're all ranked.
You have to be ranked?
Yeah, okay. I think they rank them. But still, this is a 1 week snippet, right? A 1 week snippet.
Well, you gotta think about it.
Come on, man.
How many points were between 3,000 through whatever and 577? How many points were in between there? And what guys in that range played?
Not many.
And he got top 15, so if he gets
100
points for that.
Let's think about it. How big was the field? 60?
No. PGA?
144?
126, I think, something like that.
All right, so 126. So you have to figure that, let's just say, nobody outside of the top 200 was in that tournament. Well, yeah,
exactly.
Unless there's more PGA professionals. Yeah, absolutely.
But none of them made the cut.
It's so funny too how Block literally just kind of grabbed the narrative of the entire.
I felt sorry for Brooks.
and it was like, he stole Brooks' thunder a little bit, which I'm sure the PGA was more than happy to kind of push that narrative out there as hard as
absolutely.
They could.
That's why you saw that as much as you did.
With Brooks winning, but it is an incredible story to think a teaching pro. We all have buddies who are probably teaching pros somewhere. To think one of our buddies went out and played and qualified for the PGA Championship. Not only qualified, then made the cut, then played with Rory McIlroy on Sunday, then makes an ace on 15 on Sunday coming down the stretch. I was listening to, and I know you guys hate Michael Rappaport, but I was listening to him, or Daniel Rappaport, I'm sorry, but I was listening to him talk about it. He goes, if you were to pitch this as a Hollywood script, they wouldn't believe you. They would say this isn't feasible. This is not even in the realm of possibility. Get out of here with this story. And yet it happens. And that's, I think there was moments where I saw Rory looking at him and smiling and this is why that is why the PGA is so great in a sense. And that's why the game of golf is so amazing. And it's why we love it, because we can all play it until we're, however many years old, from the time you're young.
Not all of us.
What was it the greatest game ever played with the Willamette story?
Yeah,
it's kind of like that.
Francis Willamette.
So
pretty good. It was a great story though.
And that's the thing. We've got guys that come into Kitties from Bay Hill, they're pros and they tried to qualify and stuff like that. Yep. But I mean, it's crazy that you think that one of these that could have been one of our guys. Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. You're shooting darts with a guy in the pub. and then like he goes out and qualifies, and all of a sudden he's on TV in the PGA Championship, you know, and you're like, that guy still owes me $35 from backstage
kick his
billiards.
ass in darts.
You know what I mean? Like,
you better come back
hit him with
money.
the Venmo request, you know, while he's in the middle of a round, you know, and see what happens. Anything else you got from the PGA Championship, Chad?
Well, if we go back to Brooksy when he was healthy on the PGA, and we remember he's like, I don't really practice. I just get up for the majors. But like what he does for Live now, tell me that's not perfection for him, if that's really his case.
Absolutely. And anything to the fact of him not wearing, I think he was one of the only ones who didn't wear his Live stuff the entire week. Do you think that's just because
I don't think Bryson did either.
No, Bryson did.
That was one of my takeaways too. I know I mentioned this in the group chat. I thought Bryson looked really, really good, dude.
Because he stopped trying to bench press 400.
Yeah, his swing looks better. I think he walks better. He has a glow to him about him. Maybe it's like he got rid of the pressure a little bit of the PGA, and he's now just kind of relaxed playing golf. But
$100 million will do that for you.
I thought he looked a lot better than what I've seen him in the past 3 years or so.
Well, because he finally figured out what his body type should be. Like, he shouldn't have been that bulky. But, like, now he looks like he's, like, a good normal size, you know? Like, it's probably the right fit for him now. And maybe he comes around and actually plays some golf, even though he's still a douche, but whatever.
So what? I can't change somebody's personality, but
I know. But I thought the Brooks and Bryson pairing was kind of funny, and how it just happened out like that. Yeah. Even though they say they're tight or they're cool now or whatever, but you know, back in their minds, when you got Brooks Koepka saying, "I can't fucking stand that guy" when he walks behind him in a presser.
Yeah,
that's
because he's wearing spikes, walking over the concrete while he's trying to give his answer.
Trying to interview. You know, there's still a little bit of animosity there, so.
So obviously as well too, right before we get into the Charles Schwab, but Brooks as well looks like he'll be part of the Ryder Cup team this year. And I know Tyson said that there's an exemption that they can play Ryder Cup through 2024. Is that correct? What you said, Tyson?
Just this year, yeah. Their PGA exemption goes through 2024, so this will be the last Ryder Cup that they would technically be able to be on. But
then again, their live contracts run up in 2025. Correct.
Correct, but so the next Ryder Cup wouldn't be till 2026 anyway. So I mean,
correct. So he might not even miss one if he wanted to participate in all of them. And I know Brooks is a competitive guy, and I think he likes and kind of feeds off that as well too. Any thoughts from you, Chad, about having Brooks be part of that Ryder Cup team? I mean, it seems like they're all really pretty cool with each other anyway. But just any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Ryder Cup is for America. You know, it's America versus the world, so we should have our best players play for us, no matter what the situation is. It's just like the Olympics. Like when we tried the Olympics without our best guys and we got smoked in basketball, like we know we're better than the world in basketball, but we didn't have our top 20 guys play. So it was like our 20 through 35 ranked basketball players were playing against the world and we lost. So, you know, we should have him out there. If he's one of the best in the world and for America, we should have him out there.
We'll put a bow on that and move in. I know we're moving into Colonial this week. Is that correct, Chad? What are we looking at in terms of golf course setup, and what are we thinking this week?
Colonial, it's Fort Worth, Texas. It's par 70, just over 7,200 yards. Pretty much the same setup as 2 weeks ago at the Byron Nelson, I believe it was. Same area, so going to have the same kind of effect as far as wind, dryness of the course. So it's going to be kind of tough to hold greens. So they got to slow it down a little bit. I think it's a little 12 on the step meter, maybe 11.5. But it's going to be pretty much the same conditions as 2 weeks ago. And you're going to probably be looking at the same type of guys, the Aussies, Texans, guys that, used to playing in that kind of weather.
We're looking, so you said it's a par 70, 7,200 yards, so not crazy long, but, not also super reachable as well in most spots. So we're looking at guys tee to green, or what are we looking at in terms of putting or, short? What are we looking at in terms of metrics that we're zeroing in on?
This is going to be a second shot course to the tee because you're gonna be, I think 7 holes are between 400 to 450, which isn't very long.
Right.
And the par threes, 3 of the 4 are gonna be like 190 to 200. So you're gonna have pretty much the same club, and off the tee, guys are not gonna be pulling out driver a lot.
Pros,
Driving
that's what, like an
distance,
8 or a 7 iron for him.
yeah, something like that. And then positioning off the tee is going to be key. So that would be why they take drivers out of the equation a lot. And when they are pulling out the driver, the rough's not very penal. So, if you hit it far enough, it's tree lined. So if you hit it far enough out, then you're gonna have problems. But a lot of these guys aren't gonna be hitting them that far off the line. So
I'm sorry.
then we'll be looking.
You said the driver weren't very what?
They're not gonna be hitting driver a lot.
Why?
Because it's not very long, and you're gonna have to place your ball in the fairways at certain spots to be able to hit these pin locations.
So you want guys who maybe aren't the longest,
right? You got guys everywhere from,
but are pretty straight. Where
right.
the penal's not going to be too far left or right.
Correct. You got guys like, okay, so like the last two, Sam Burns and Jason Kokrak, they were both bombing it out there. But then before that, you had Daniel Berger, Kevin Na, Kevin Kisner, short guys. They were just placing the ball in the fairway, hitting it where they needed to, and then attacking pins. So it's any type of golfer can win this setup. So, like I know Paul was talking about, he was trying to find a Michael Block missed cut bet for this week. I'm like, I don't do it this week because it's the perfect type of this is the guy that he hits in the fairway, he hits greens, he makes putts.
He even said it like on the phone call. He goes, so I hear, as a pro, I've always been told like Colonial is the best place for like
over 40.
Yeah, like the older crowd to be able to play, because it's not gonna. You don't have to hit it 350 to be able to compete.
Exactly.
So that being, go ahead.
It's open for any kind of golfer to win. Like that's the thing, is like a lot of the bombers kind of tone it down a little, and if they can, they go for it. But this setup also, the 2 par 5s that are on the course, the one is the easiest hole on the course, and it's reachable for everyone. It's like 530, and then the second one is not reachable for anybody because it's so long. So the 2 par 5s kind of bring everyone back to the playing field. So it's not like the bombers can reach one of them that the other guys can't. This one equals everything out.
And if you're looking for him in your pool, he is 118th out of 120. So you can get him for a pretty good price too on Mr. Block. I always like guys who play well coming off, and for playing a course that sets up well for him as well too. I know he's had a lot going on this week, but I think I'll probably add him just because that way you can take some of the top tier guys as well.
Like you said, like courses that geared to certain players, like that's why they're legit horses for courses. Guys, it doesn't matter how they're playing at the time. A course setup just is perfect for them, and they always play it well.
It's like like Ches Reavie is probably a guy who people are going to target this week, right? Because he's a guy who just hits it straight, keeps it in play. He's probably definitely going to make the cut, putts the ball well. Just one of those guys, right?
Yep, I would definitely say he probably makes the cut. Another like Brendan Todd, he hits it like 280, but he hits great approaches and he can putt. So another perfect example. He has a great record here, I'm pretty sure.
And On's putting the ball really well. Has now right now too, I believe. This is kind of an interesting guy in there, right around 66 to be able to look at. Anybody we like at the top of the board? I know you're always a big, listen. You got a guy who's from Texas, lives in Texas, but obviously Scotty Scheffler, and the price on him this week is a little absurd. I know that also reflects the pool that they're playing in as well in terms of the amount of in depth of talent. Anybody we like at the top though?
At the top, you can always go with Jordan Spieth if he's healthy and he's gonna play. He looked healthy when he was playing at the PGA, so he pretty much owns this course. He's had, I think, 7 top 10s in his last 10 starts here. So if you want to get someone that you're just gonna plug and play, not really have to worry about, I would go with him. I'm not I'm not sure how Scheffler and Hovland are gonna, you know, react to being in the hunt last week. It's always tough to say how a guy's gonna, come out and play after, the playing in a major and really competing for it. So who knows with them?
Kind of a mental letdown from you, unless
Yeah,
you're riding that emotional high where you were an underdog anyway. You know what I mean? But if you went in and you were expecting to try to perform
yeah,
and
like
you were
Scheffler, we
in the
don't know.
hunt, it's going to be tough, and
But
especially for the
I
price.
mean,
It's like, you know,
yeah,
the
and
price on Scotty is double what everybody else is this week, so it's kind of
exactly.
tough.
And if I'm betting him, I'm not. Was he 4-1? Like I can find a guy to get just a top 10 or a top 20 and get paid better than that. That I can have many more options to get that 4-1. So there's no sense in betting him. You just hope that you don't have that guy win, because it just ruins any chance for your long shots or whatever.
Any of those long shots that you like for those top 10s or top 20s? I know you like to stack everything when you take a guy. A lot of times, in terms of like a longer shot guy, you'll take him every which way, and if he wins, you win everything. So on and so forth. But anybody that you're looking at toward the bottom of the roster this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what we were looking at with the Byron Nelson. I like Sam Stevens again. He plays well in Texas. He's from Texas. He's used to all that, the weather conditions and everything like that. And I'm going to go also a little deeper with a guy that came out of nowhere, Austin Eckroat.
You were going to say Eckler, and I was like, he's trying to get traded, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to come to
Not
Texas.
anymore.
He wants to play for the Cowboys.
Okay, Austin Eckert, huh? Okay.
Eckroat.
I'm sorry, Eckroat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I feel like he might be a little flash in the pan. Also, you guys like your Texans like Ryan Palmer. He came out and showed up a couple weeks ago. Also, Captain Kurt Kitayama might be a interesting play, because it's
that was literally about to come out of my mouth, because he actually played pretty well.
What about?
Yeah,
Yep.
my what about was Kurt Kitayama, because I feel like he played pretty well. He hits the ball straight. He's putted the ball pretty well all year. Seems like he might be a guy to play. He is in an interesting range. You don't see Kitayama in the top 10 in terms of prices very often, but he is this week. So, that's also, listen, Vegas knows they're going to be a little reactionary to things as well, too.
Yeah.
Maybe they're ahead of the curve, and we can take a little bit of a hint from them as well.
Yeah, and if you're looking at mid-range, you got guys who are just kind of horses for courses here. Chris Kirk is mid-range. He's actually won here before. I think this is his first ever victory, actually. So, he knows the course well. He plays well here. And Cam Davis, an Aussie. So I think he will do well here also.
He's a long hitter, though, isn't he, Cam Davis?
Yeah, he's a long hitter, but his approach game is really good, too.
Okay.
So, and he knows how to bring it back a little bit if he needs to, where he's hitting 3 woods off the tee instead of drivers. Okay. So
yeah, a lot of times we'll see Rory just say forget it, and he'll just hit
exactly
driver anyway and let it go, and then he ends up short-siding himself on a bunker. I think that's my biggest complaints about Rory's game sometimes, is that he gets overly aggressive in situations where it's not warranted. You're going after a pin that's tucked in the back right, trying to hit a fade when you have 5 yards of green to work with. Otherwise, you fall off into a bunker. Then you're going to have to hit a bunker shot that's going to run 20, 30 feet past, even if you hit a perfect shot. Like the risk reward to me is, I don't know. It just kind of, I think that's one thing Tiger was always good at. Like, he kind of knew his role in his place and was able to put together these amazing rounds in that sense, So.
Yeah, but also, I don't think Tiger was as good of a driver as Rory of the ball as far as accuracy, combined accuracy and distance. Yeah. So that's the thing about Rory is so, like, he knows he can hit that shot. He could probably hit it 7 out of 10 times if he did it, but it's just that one time that he's hitting it that time is when, I think he's starting to get a little too cocky with it.
I noticed that on some of his iron shots in the greens, like, you had like a good number and you're just way over aggressive instead of just playing and being okay with making par sometimes,
Yeah. And that's the thing with like a tournament like PGA. Like you watched Brooks on Saturday and Sunday when he was up there. There was one. They're like, will he go for it? He should. And then he just laid up, took his medicine, got his bogey, made sure he didn't get a 6, got out of there, went to the next hole, birdie, got it back. So it's like those majors and stuff like that. You got to really get to know what you're up against, and a lot of people don't.
Next major we have is the Open.
Yes.
Royal Liverpool, I believe, correct?
No. The U.S. Open in California.
U.S. Open
LA.
is in California and L.A.
Yeah.
Where is it at?
Los Angeles Country Club.
Okay.
And that's the thing, is that a lot of people have never played it, so it's going to be interesting.
And it's usually Father's Day weekend, is that correct?
Yes.
Middle of June?
Should be, yeah.
A couple weeks away for us. Cool. Anything else you got for us today, Chad? Chad's final thoughts?
Yeah, we'll tone that down. We want to talk basketball? Just kidding. Oh, I talked to Justice yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of which, yeah.
Why?
Can
I ask why?
Because Murdoch and Jill were in. So
okay.
Jill had a little thing that she was trying out that you could send voice memos and video memos and stuff like that. So I took the liberty of telling him to
Celtics in 7.
Suck it. Oh, I kind of like that. I just told him to suck it, and they shouldn't have gave him that win. So, just
what
normal.
What do you think about that series going forward? Me and Tyson disagree vehemently.
Hey, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you haven't seen Tatum play in the first 3 games, and if Tatum gets this, it's like whenever I bet Tatum props, whenever he doesn't have anything to play for, he never hits his props. But when he does have something to play for, it's like he just goes off. And like that was I have to win this game, and that's exactly what he did. Like, he's got that other gear, that I wish guys would
so different. Like when him and Jaylen Brown attack the rim and get downhill, it just opens up so much more the flow for him. It's like sometimes they just fall in love with the jump shot. My biggest gripe with basketball overall. Guys.
Because I mean, especially when you're not hitting threes, like what they were like 7 of 19 or something like that. The first half, I think, or
they made 12 in the second half. So
yeah, and Jaylen Brown needs to stop shooting as much because there's something wrong with him right now, his hand or something, or that face mask. I don't know what it is, but
thing or if it's there's something off.
You're right. He needs to be more of a facilitator, and maybe
just attack the rim, dunk on people.
Yeah, I mean that works.
Yeah, no, 100%. I thought LeBron was guilty of that too, where he goes off for 31 in the first half, and in the second half he only scores 9, but it was nothing was toward the rim.
Right. The second half looked like a torch
or whatever. It was just
like I'm not a LeBron fan as far as like the whole like anything. We all know that. But
the whole anything.
Where'd you rank LeBron?
3. Maybe 2. I don't know. But I'm not getting into that. I just want to get into the fact that if he played basketball the way he played in the first half of Game 4 all the time, his career might be shorter, but I feel like he'd have like at least 8 rings. Because when he attacks and he acts like a man playing NBA, he's unstoppable. But he doesn't play like that all the time. He plays like that 20% of the game, and then they lose. So that's just my take, but
then we appreciate your take, Chad.
I know you do, boys.
I know you do. Your take.
I wish I could get more in depth to it, but I can't because then things start to come out of my mouth that Tyson doesn't like. So,
but if you would like for him to get more
Tyson,
depth,
the FCC,
you can find him at Kitty O'Shea's Irish Pub and Buffalo Bar,
and I will tell you all about it.
Yeah. Look for the shorter guy with the curly red hair.
Yes, that's him.
And Chad would be more than happy to tell you all about what he thinks as well, too. Chad, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for imparting knowledge and wisdom and bringing us great money-making strategies and investments this week. Thank you so much, brother. I hope you have a great week and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, boys. See you later.
Appreciate you, homie.
All right, with that being said, that's going to about do it today for the uninformed fan. Jeffrey, any last party thoughts?
We went a little long. Did you have anything else? I thought you had something you wanted to talk about at the very end.
No, we're going to save it for Friday. Friday, we're going to be breaking down again. We're going to break down the Celtics Game 5 win. We're going to talk win. We're going to talk about Monaco. We got Monaco in F1 this weekend. Oh, yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
beautiful.
Oh yeah.
We got to go through that at one point in our life.
Well, you know what? If somebody picks
Maybe
up
not.
this podcast, then absolutely.
I'm saying maybe not for F1, but I'd love to go hit Monaco just to like hit Monaco,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice. It would be. I'd also like to go to the Maldives.
I want to go Amalfi Coast, Rome.
Skip
I want to see the
Rome.
Vatican.
Skip Vatican.
No,
I'm telling you,
I don't
it's
care.
not worth it.
Why? Why is it not worth it?
It's just a tourist trap, bro. The restaurants, everything around it is just it's a trap.
I want to go see it all, Tyson. I want my kids to go experience culture and history with me.
Watch Gladiator. Better.
No.
It's a better feel.
I want the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons tour. I want everything. I want Tom Hanks to lead it. I want him to tell me about everything, about how Mary Magdalene is actually, the Holy Grail. And,
well, the Louvre is in France.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Well, you didn't say France. You said Italy, and then you went into Angels and Demons.
I said I wanted to go to the Vatican.
You said you wanted to do the Angels and Demon tour.
Yeah.
But at the end of Angels and Demons, he was at the Louvre, which is underneath the triangle thing, the Louvre, where she was.
Actually, where he starts Angels and Demons.
If you want to ever see what robbing generational wealth looks like and popes, the corruption of the epitome of corruption of the Catholic Church, absolutely. The Vatican is your spot.
You should be able to listen. I want to have enough brevity to the situation where I can tell both sides of the story, right? Look at this. This is their opinion. Look at this. This is their opinion.
It was amazing.
Listen,
so,
kids, I love you guys. I want you to make your own informed opinion on it.
Make sure you get the private tour guide when you do the Vatican. For one, I'll tell you why. You skip all of the lines, okay, and then you actually get an in-depth reading of what is actually happening in there. So in there is the hallway of the room of popes, right? And you go through, and each pope tried to outdo the previous pope with the lavish and the gold and the painting. So as you continue to go down, it just gets more lavish and more lavish and more lavish. And the tour guide was happy to explain, where do we think that these lavishes came from? They came from the Romans, because back then the Pope was AKA the emperor. So after the Romans would go raid these cities, they would raid and steal all of the city's value that they had, the gold, the marble, and they would bring it back, and that's how the Vatican was built. I think it's a great idea. I think you should go. Just try to go outside of Rome a little bit, though. I'm telling you, Rome itself was just that was one of the.
Go see the pyramids. Should I not go see the pyramids either? In Egypt?
Well, the pyramids weren't built off of robbing other people. What are you looking at me like that for? You really think that slaves built the pyramids? Really? I'm gonna need you to do in some digging. Okay. Do you
think that aliens built the pyramids?
I think that there's something seriously crazy about this planet, and the fact that we talk about polar shifts and how there's pyramids in Antarctica and how that was once a lavish, possibly Garden of Eden type stuff. Bro, this world, man, we don't even know. We are just a literal speck of a speck of a speck of just in the grand scheme of things, man. There's some crazy shit going on there. I just hope that, when I get to see the big man, I'm like, hey, bro, like, what's going on here? I hope I just get a little bit, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Just want clarity.
Bro, I just think that there's so much that the human mind just can't even comprehend. It's just, it's crazy.
On that note, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Uninformed Fan. We appreciate you. We thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you again on Friday. We're going to break down, again, the Celtics win, F1 in Monaco, and we're going to go kick off the weekend in style, maybe even have a little Clase Azul at the end of it. I think that might be a new thing. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Everybody, have a great week. Keep playing.
Be great.